Pollution is the introduction of contaminants into a natural environment that causes instability, disorder, harm, and discomfort to the ecosystem. Pollution is a very serious issue in this day and age. We should not have to live in these harsh conditions. Sadly, this is not the case. This documentary was made to illustrate the distressing and unfortunate truth about what is happening to the residents living in the area of Sabah Salim in the state of Kuwait. Sabah Salim area, formerly known as الهيمان, is located south of Ahmadi Governorate, and it contains around 4,000 residential homes and social services facilities. The residential area's population totals around 45,000, and these people are living their daily lives encircled by many industrial buildings and facilities. West Shuaibah Industrial Area is located directly north of the residential area and lies just 2 kilometers away. And East Shuaibah Industrial Area is located northeast and is only 4 kilometers away. Situated northwest of the residential area are the solid waste burial sites, dusty industries, and Kuwait oil companies, oil assembly centers, and they are located only 5 kilometers from the populated area. Moreover, to the west of the residential area, and less than 30 meters away, are high voltage power lines, and to the south in Al-Zur area are electric power stations.
Considering these sites surrounding the populated area, we find that the residents are being exposed to and are suffering from an environmental overload of air and electromagnetic pollutants.
One of the fundamental principles of the Kuwaiti Constitution is to provide safe and suitable housing and living conditions for the citizens. Personally, after waiting 15 years, the state, represented by the Ministry of Housing Affairs, provided me with a prepared piece of land equipped with all the necessary facilities. This was under the pretext that the land was suitable for living. However, I was extremely surprised and shocked to find the location exposed the residents to horrible and irritating smells on a daily basis.
ومزعجة وبشكل متواصل على مدار اليوم.
The environmental problems can be split up into 2 parts. The first part deals with the issue of electromagnetic pollution. Several studies and researches have illustrated the hazardous effects of electromagnetic pollution, especially since it differs from other types of pollutants by 2 fundamental factors. Firstly, it is imperceptible and therefore cannot be avoided. And secondly, it is extremely dangerous in its ability to penetrate through solid objects of various forms.
The problem of electromagnetic pollution in Al-Heyman is a complicated issue, as the residents are constantly being exposed to this 24 hours, 7 days a week. The dangers of the strong electric force that has now exceeded to other types of pollutants in the atmosphere, such as gases that the residents are suffering from and which are being released from the industries from the Shuaibah industrial site, which include both governmental and private industrial facilities present in the surrounding areas. Electromagnetic pollution has several effects on the human body, and we are specifically talking about the direct effects to children and women, especially during their menstrual cycles and pregnancy, when their immune system is low. As a result, they are more prone to harmful effects and poisons of the electromagnetic pollution.
هذا التلوث.
According to the studies conducted by many scientists, there is no doubt that the electromagnetic radiation affects the body and the mind. Some of these pathological symptoms resulting from the exposure to electromagnetic pollution include heart disease, breast cancer, brain disorders, the destruction of chemical structure of the cells of the body, breaks down DNA, which results in the destruction of cells and is considered to be an adequate cause of cancer, affects the health and development of fetuses, disables the function of cells, disrupts the secretion of enzymes, disorders the levels of calcium in the body, causes physical inactivity, laziness, constant feelings of tiredness and fatigue, and a lack of will or motivation to work. As you can see, the list is endless, and most of the symptoms are extremely severe.
إنه الوقت هو الآن.
There is no time left for the area of الهيمان, and it is crucial to solve the problem. الهيمان is the only residential area that has high voltage power lines to the left and to the right, so they are surrounded by both electromagnetic and air pollution. We are waiting for a final and committed solution to solving this problem.
The second part of the environmental problems relates to air pollution. Given the mechanisms regarding air pollution, we find that nature has determined the direction of the prevailing winds in the state of Kuwait by more than 80% throughout the whole year, and they come from the north-northwestern direction. Accordingly, we find that the bulk of the problem of air pollution, more than 80%, originates from these industrial sites, which operate north-northwest of the residential area. So, most of the prevailing wind passes through these industrial sites, and the residents of Sabah السالم are constantly breathing in these air pollutants.
The second year I was living in the area, I was diagnosed with asthma, and my children all have skin allergies. At night you can feel gases coming into the house through the air conditioning. My house is on the edge of the area on the northern side, next to the factories. Even at night I turn off the lights. You can see the smoke all around the house, and it comes from the AC. We can't even sleep at night.
All of these industrial facilities in Kuwait are owned by the private sector, and most are located in West Shaiba industrial area. Currently, there are a total of 160 industrial facilities or blocks, not including the solid and liquid waste burial sites affiliated with the municipality of Kuwait, the Dusty Industries, and Kuwait Oil Company.
When they were discussing the subject of الهيمان, they brought to me a study as I was responsible for the environment and planning. I reviewed the case, and I specifically told them that I recommended any residential areas should be established at least 20 kilometers away from the industrial sites. They told me at the time, no, 2 or 3 kilometers is enough. I explained to them that being a man that is knowledgeable about the environment, and I have studied this issue, I am telling you that you will regret this decision. Of course, human beings are capable of inhaling 2% of pollutants, and it will not affect their health. However, humans cannot handle constantly inhaling pollutants 24 hours a day. We noticed something strange, that all the area's faults range from Wafra area to the sea, because of the oil production and extraction points, as well as the other industries are located along the stretch. The pressure in the area is significantly low, as the level of sulfur affects the pressure in the atmosphere. So what do you expect are the potential effects from the other chemicals that are being emitted from other industries?
Most of the pollution is derived from these factories, and the main problem is that they have large influence over Kuwait's government bodies or regulators, and they are able to exert pressure that protects them from any punitive measures. According to Kuwait's industrial laws, Article 41, Clause 3, the public authority for industry may cancel a license granted to an industrial craft or enterprise by a decision from the Board of Directors, in the event that the license holder violates any of the conditions under which the license has been granted. Furthermore, Article 40 states that the person in charge of the violating industrial craft or enterprise shall be entitled to apply for a review of the resolutions inflicting one of the penalties stipulated in paragraphs 3, 4, and 5 of the preceding article within 30 days from the date of his notification of the penalty, and the application shall be submitted to the authority's Board of Directors to pass judgment within 60 days. Therefore, and its decision in this respect shall be final. However, although these laws are present, they are not being enforced, as the private companies are too powerful and can block them. The residents of Sabah السالم are inhaling the chemicals and poisonous substances that are emanating from these industrial facilities, which are working at full capacity. This results in several health problems, and the issue has continued despite official institutions' promises to solve the problem since November 2003.
ليس نوعا من الخيال.
The honest truth is that this area is not suitable for living, or the type of air is not medically or naturally suitable to inhale due to the level of pollution and chemical toxins present. This was highlighted in these reports. In 1994, the Ministry of Health instructed in this report that this area was not suitable for living before the establishment of الهيمان as a residential area. In February 2005, Kuwait Institute for Scientific Research noted in this report that the pollution levels in the area were 19 times higher than the global limit. Reports from the Kuwait University in 1998 and in 2008 found there were 14 to 15 pollutants found in الهيمان. Finally, in January 2010, the latest report released by the Committee of the Council of Ministers in joint cooperation with the Environmental Protection Authority and the Public Authority of Industry said they found 37 environmental violations emitted from these private factories, which are releasing toxic gases and liquids daily.
In 1998, a decision was taken by the Council of Ministers to distribute Sabah السالم as a residential area and prohibited the construction of any new industrial facilities. At the time, there were less than 50 factories operating, but by 2005, there were 75 factories present in the area. And so, again, the Council of Ministers issued another decision banning the development of any factories. However, by 2010, you can see that the industrial facilities continue to increase in the area despite statements issued by government representatives and orders and decisions issued by the Council of Ministers over the past decade. Now, there are 160 factories, testimony that the private owners have more influence than the power of the country's laws, and that nobody is committed to stopping their establishment. As a result, the residents of the area have expressed deep disappointment with the government's lack of action towards the 10-year-old problem.
The Environmental Public Authority has confirmed 15 chemical substances present in Sabah السالم, which include formaldehyde, benzene, styrene, fine particles or particulate matter, toluene, sulfur oxide, nitrogen oxide, ground-level ozone, phenol, ethylbenzene, xylene, acetaldehyde, non-methane organic pollutants, chromium, and lead. The pollutant measuring stations in Sabah السالم indicate that the chemical pollutants exceed the global limit by 19-fold, making the air that the families and children inhale extremely toxic and deadly. These pollutants severely affect the human body, and their effects can remain for a long time. This is a very serious issue, and the longer these residents live in these hazardous environmental conditions, the more harm it will cause as time passes. These pollutants result in several dangerous health problems and life-threatening illnesses and diseases, the most common of which are asthma and skin allergies. One of my children has a strange condition, and his body is filled with a rash that resembles eczema. The weird thing is that when I take him to his uncle's house, the rash disappears, but when he returns home a day or two later, the same rash reappears. If we leave the country, his eczema goes away completely, but returns when he comes back home. What more evidence do you need? It is my civil right as a Kuwaiti to live in a safe and clean environment. The government favors the traders who own the private companies over the residents. This is a humanitarian issue and not a trading one. How long do we have to fight, and what are we fighting for? Our souls? Our children's souls? Are we not the sons of our nation? As you can see, the amount of people that suffer from asthma in Sabah السالم is almost 14 times higher compared to the other cities in Kuwait. Moreover, official figures provided by the Audit Bureau have shown that in 2005, a total of 1,399 residents were diagnosed with asthma. And the most recent official figures show that this number has increased to 8,074 in 2009.
Pollution also affects vital parts of the human body, like the liver, kidneys, and the lungs, and can cause several types of cancer. Moreover, these pollutants also have negative effects, especially on women and children. For instance, there have been several reports of symptoms of abortion, complications in women's menstrual cycles, deformation of fetuses, and infertility.
The amount of people that have been diagnosed and have died from cancer in al-Heyman has increased severely. I am one of these people, and my 6-year-old nephew, who was in kindergarten, was diagnosed with cancer. He was a child that used to walk and play with other children. We took him to be treated in London, and they asked if we lived next to factories. They told us he has brain cancer. Is that fair? Why should an innocent child suffer like this? They should either remove the factories or remove us, because we are fed up and we just want to live like normal human beings, and we are suffering day and night. The problem has even torn families apart, and wives divorce their husbands because they don't want to live in these harsh conditions, and they want to protect their children.
The issue began as an environmental problem, but has also evolved into a social one after several domestic disputes and divorces. Moreover, there have been many fatalities recorded in Ali Sabah السالم, but one of the most outspoken was in December 2008, when a 6-year-old girl called Dima passed away from a brain tumor. It was a tragic event, and one that deepened the outcry to help solve these dangerous standards of living.
My eldest children were diagnosed with asthma, and I used to treat them at the local hospital, and they would go for a checkup every 2 weeks. So I told the doctor that we are coming to you every other week, and you give my sons medicine, and they get better, but then after they become sick again, and they start coughing day and night. The doctor told me that the reason they are sick is because the level of pollution present in the area you live in. And if you want your sons to be cured, you have to leave this area, and they will never get better as long as they live there. In 2006, my daughter was diagnosed with cancer. We tried to treat her, but it was God's will to take her from us, and this was due to the high level of pollution in al-Heyman. This is the medical report that states that my daughter was diagnosed with cancer, and it was issued on the 6th of May 2008. It shows the last checkup that she was supposed to attend at the King Faisal Specialist Hospital in Riyadh, and it was on the 6th of January 2009. She died before this date, and I like to call her my daughter Dima, the martyr of al-Heyman. Since 2003 to this date, the record of movement of Ali Sabah al-Salam is enriched with actions from volunteers and on the official level, such as government bodies and institutions. The problem was addressed by Environmental Public Authority, the Public Authority for Industry, the Ministry of Health, the Public Authority for Agriculture Affairs and Fish Resources, Kuwait's municipality, and several other bodies responsible. They held several meetings, discussions, and researches to find a practical and realistic solution to solve the severe problem, but no concrete action was taken other than statements issued in newspapers and other press publications. Even the residents of Ali Sabah al-Salam have taken the issue into their own hands and have held many protests and strikes throughout the past years. In May 2010, 15,000 students did not attend school in protest of the air pollution, which was organized by the area's Volunteer Environmental Protection Committee and with 100% participation. The students staged a 2-day walkout to send a peaceful message to the government that they are suffering, but it resulted in no action and the problem is not even close to being solved. The residents have also taken the matter to the courts and have filed legal charges against the factories surrounding their homes, but they received no assistance from either the executive or the legislative bodies, as Kuwait's laws do not provide for or recognize such issues as a serious problem. Furthermore, the issue has caused political turmoil in Kuwait and has no longer become just an environmental issue. It has led to an interpellation of the Prime Minister, who heads the Council of Ministers. The Environmental Public Authority, EPA, which is one of the main bodies monitoring this problem, has not taken any active solution to end the crisis for the residents of this area, as they have appointed unqualified people to the posts occupied by the EPA and has resulted in the mismanagement and improper treatment of the country's environmental situation. The EPA also does not have the proper tools to monitor pollution levels, and as a consequence, this has aggravated Ali Sabah al-Salam's pollution and other environmental problems. There are two proposed solutions that would help solve the problem of Ali Sabah al-Salam area, and they are to direct the path of high voltage power lines from their current aerial track to underground cables, to remove all the private factories which cause 80% of the air's pollution, the industrial facilities and the waste burial sites from the area and maintain it as a safe residential area, or to remove the entire residential area and designate Ali Sabah al-Salam solely as an industrial zone.
This pollution does not only affect humans, but also our animals. They don't speak, but we can feel that they are suffering just as much as we are. My dogs are severely affected, and one of them had a miscarriage and lost 11 puppies. I'm very caring with my dogs, and I take them to the best vets in Kuwait. Even my cats have lost many litters and suffer as the dogs do. I hope what has happened to my animals does not happen to my children, because this is not an easy thing to deal with, and we hope that more people can stand beside us and help us.
Among the essential factors of human rights is the entitlement to live in safe housing and residential areas from all aspects. Unfortunately, this is not the case for the families living in Ali Sabah al-Salam area in Kuwait. The Kuwaiti government distributes land or homes to its citizens. However, after enduring the trouble and waiting around 15 to 20 years to obtain a house and settle down comfortably, the families were surprised to discover that the houses they inhabited exposed them to several health illnesses and diseases, and they had no choice in the matter. When these houses were constructed on this land, the government did not account for the fact that this area was not suitable and did not meet the standard of living conditions due to the health risks. The area does not meet either the international health or environmental standards or specifications, despite severe warnings by professionals. I restate that it was a big mistake that we took the decision to establish this area. I also informed the highest authority and His Highness the late Emir Sheikh Jabir, and I told him that I am a resident of this area and I know what I'm talking about. I even wrote in the newspaper, and I furthermore explained what I told the Minister of Housing at the time. I told them, have mercy, you are going to regret this, but they told me that I'm exaggerating. We have had enough of inhaling these gases that are coming from the southeast, from East Shuaibah, and as a result this issue distresses me as we can smell the gases from 50 kilometers away. We need to save the families, and especially the children of Ali Sabah al-Salam, from the pollution that is destroying their health, as we need to protect our future generations from infringements of environmental and basic human rights. At this rate, the country is encouraging the pollution levels by not doing enough to eradicate it. Pollution is currently on the increase, and factories are emitting more poisons in the air on a daily basis. The community of Ali Sabah al-Salam has tried everything in their power to eradicate this problem at all official levels. Now we have reached this step, and we are appealing to you with all your esteem and knowledge to help us. The residents of Ali Sabah al-Salam have only one hope, and that is to breathe clean air and look up at the sky and see that it is pollution-free.
أمانة لا تخلونا أمانة حزننا لا تخلونا أمانة في بيئة يفتقر فيها الأمان أمان يا كويتنا وانت الأمان أمان يا كويتنا وانت الأمان خلونا أمانة حزننا لا تخلونا أمانة في بيئة يفتقر فيها الأمان أمان يا كويتنا وانت الأمان أمان يا كويتنا وانت الأمان طفل يصرخ ينادي ينتظر في ظل أيادي يحتضر من شر باقي، والأمل بالله كبير، والعشم فيكم يا هلنا، والرجال قول فعلها يحفظ الله كل بلدنا وكلنا نبقى بأمان. طفل يصرخ ينادي ينتظر بظل أيادي يحتضر من شر باقي، الأمل بالله كبير، والعشم فيكم يا هلنا، والرجال قول فعلها يحفظ الله كل بلدنا وكلنا نبقى بأمان. أمانة لا تخلونا، أمانة أمانة لا تخلونا، أمانة حزننا لا تخلونا، أمانة في بيئة يفتقر فيها الأمان. أمان يا قوتنا وانت الأمان، أمان يا قوتنا وانت الأمان، أمان يا قوتنا